Hello guys and welcome back for the May JRPG News Roundup. We start with the Falcom News as always, and thank you to Hansgate once again for all his hard work. The recently released Kiseki visual collection has been uploaded to Imager, so if you played the game and want to see the concept art, check it out. Obviously beware of spoilers if you haven't played it. Last month also saw the announcement of the Sen 1-4 and Hajimaru Collector's Box, plus the collection of retailer pre-order bonuses. The B2 tapestries for the likes of Altina and Reen have now been colorized, representing the final product when it gets shipped out. Pikato Anime will also be having a special Falcon-based artwork event, and in preparation gave us a whole bunch of full character illustrations for the extended 40th anniversary artwork. 2 secret artworks will also be revealed on the 11th of June relating to Trails and Ys. And since we're referring to Ys, this was super cool to see. I love Ys 8, every long-time viewer knows that, and Wayuu Records are now following on from their Origin and Felghana sets to bring us an Ys 8 vinyl collection as well. Now I opened the Oath and Felghana set about 3 months back and was a little disappointed with the final product, but if they'd taken that feedback to heart and incorporated it into this one, I might have to dive in myself for this. I've linked it in the description if you want to check it out. And these merchandise sales are clearly doing well for Falcom, as their recently released Q2 results are strong, better than the last 5 years of the same period. Key drivers for this are strong sales in the Ys series with the likes of the super price versions of Ys 8 and 9, similar performance from the Trails series, and also a surge in PC sales in regions outside of Japan. In a surprise, the Ys 6 mobile title has also been performing decently. Now to the games, and we start with the upcoming release of Trails from Zero. The character trailer was shown off, giving many a first introduction to the SSS, and the game also has been rated by the ESRB as teen, in large part due to simulated gambling and jiggling breasts as laid out from the horse's mouth. I think we know what they're talking about here. Moving on to Kiseki Crimson Sin, which had a Famitsu volume on the 11th of May detailing more information, including the likes of the Holo-Core AI Altera, Grendel Zolga, and the more involved roles of Celis and Rion. There will also be a movie collaboration poster contest for the 3 new movies added to the sequel, and the winners will have their poster featured in-game along with a B2-sized physical version sent to them upon the game's release, not to mention getting a highlight in the credits. However, there was more news in the following week, as a Famitsu article from the 19th of May detailed even more notable tidbits, this time in reference to the upcoming Switch release of Naruto no Kiseki Ad Astra. First of all, Falcom have stated that dependent on resources they are open to developing a Naruto sequel in the future, but arguably of more interest is that, as said in the shareholder meeting, they are looking to push more of their titles onto the Switch, especially in the Legend of Heroes series. They've stated that Kuro no Kiseki has been tested on the platform and they hope to bring more information soon. This is not just limited to Trails, as they have also made mention of the Ys series, hoping to replicate titles like Ys Origins release on the platform last year. And now to the general JRPG news, starting with some sales milestones. Pokemon Legends Arceus has now sold over 12 million units worldwide, not too surprising considering its wider popularity. Rune Factory 5 has also done well upon awakening from its long hiatus, selling 500,000 units worldwide, both physically and digitally since its release. The Yakuza series released its sales figures from the previous fiscal year, stating that the games, including the 2 Judgment entries as a whole, had sold 2.9 million units worldwide. It was also made apparent near the start of the month that Yakuza 8 is reaching the end of development, and Ichiban will once again be the protagonist as many expected. To Atlus now, and we start with Persona, that has performed decently over the past 12 months, selling 1.3 million units worldwide between April 21 and March 22. This was likely spurred by the releases of titles like the P4 Arena Ultimax remaster back in March. Atlus West also shared some new merchandise available for pre-order worldwide, including some t-shirts from the schools seen in the franchise, plus some upcoming merchandise as part of Wave 2 in summer. There was also a Persona-themed turntable to follow on from that vinyl set a couple of months back. It's $500 though, so again, not feasible for everyone. Sega have also shared a full list of Steam Deck verified games for those who owned a device, with the likes of Persona 4 Golden and most of the Yakuza series included within that bracket. Finally, in an interesting development, Pinbox have now partnered with Atlus themselves, specifically SMT5, to bring us newly designed pins derived from the game, carrying on their excellent work from the likes of Trails. Now to Square, and there's a fair amount to go over, but we'll start with the elephant in the room, which occurred near the start of the month. As part of a notable clear-out, Square Enix sold a few of its Western studios to Embracer Group, including Square Enix Montreal, Crystal Dynamics, and Eidos Montreal, effectively parting ways with IPs like Deus Ex, Tomb Raider, and Legacy of Kain, and doing so for a surprisingly low amount in $300 million. For reference, Embracer Group purchased Gearbox for over $1 billion not too long before this. Square have said that their reasons for doing so are partly because of the studio's underwhelming performance with reference to the likes of Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy and Marvel's Avengers, but it does show a potential lack of understanding on the Western market, as Marvel's Avengers had an aspect that many gamers can't stand in live service, something that also blighted Babylon's Fall, which flopped on arrival, and the other in Guardians of the Galaxy, while actually being decent as a standalone title, was not pushed nearly enough by Square. It's Neo The World Ends With You all over again. It feels as if Square believes that slapping a big name on a title will immediately lead to El Dorado, and they don't need to put any work in to make it happen, which is evidently not how the real world operates. However, the other reason for this sale was more alarming, stating that they are doing so to not only focus on their main markets like mobile gaming and MMOs, which isn't too bad, but also to pursue blockchain gaming. Yep, the NFT talk is back again. Now, I've already stated my stance on NFTs, or as I call them, no f***ing thanks, but Square are following on from their New Year's statement where they signaled that they see NFTs as the future of gaming. But it just feels like they're chasing a fad that has already deflated like a pinpricked balloon. A collapse in the market, the likes of Ubisoft Quartz being dead on arrival, hacking of NFT domains, legal issues relating to ownership of classic games. There's been a storm of controversy regarding this topic, with only the likes of NFT bros stating that everything is okay and people are overreacting. It's literally the meme in motion. And Square really are out of touch, or at least the higher up suits are, stating their surprise that, gasp, people play games for fun, who would have thought it? Add on to that dismissing critique as reservations, as if we needed to be educated that these have a place in gaming. Well, I'll tell you what, up till now, no advocate of NFTs has given any sort of concrete advantage to gamers from having these included, because they simply can't do it. For something that is supposedly the future of gaming, it has a surprising lack of value to actual players, and many people thankfully see it for what it really is, another post-sale form of monetization. If Square decide to put these in their titles going forward, which sadly I think they will attempt to do, the player base will simply have to keep showing them disapproval in a manner that Square will finally understand, and that is to not buy them and hurt their investment margins. Anyway, back to some more enjoyable news now, going over some merchandise first relating to Square. Tombury and Cactuar Gallery figures have gone up for pre-order and they're due to release in January 2023. And in reference to art, a risque figure of Tifa has also gone up for pre-order, due out in March 2023. It clearly has a market because the 1/4 scale figure has gone up for $730. Next up, no pun intended here, but this is actually pretty cool. A Nier Ice Tray is up for pre-order and releases in August 2022 from the Japanese Square Enix store. It's around 20 quid and literally allows you to have ice cubes in the shape of Emil's face. I like it. I've pre-ordered one and can't wait to see it. That wasn't all for Nier though, as a Play Art Kai figure of Kaine has also gone up for pre-order and is due out in January 2023. It's just over 20,000 yen. Those who want a bag for life can now get one based off the slimes from Dragon Quest, saving the planet and looking stylish while doing it. Closing out the merchandise, the upcoming 2.5D remaster of Live Alive now has its soundtrack up for pre-order, though this also appears to be limited to the Japanese retail side, so you'll need to use a proxy as international shipping might still be locked off for some outlets. And now to the games, once again starting with Live Alive, which showed off a 30-minute gameplay trailer and some insight on the playable time period. The Saga series will have a live stream broadcast on the 31st of May detailing the future of the series. Unfortunately, this video will be out before that point, so we'll go over that next month, but link is in the description if you want to see it live and get those updates immediately. Dragon Quest Day also occurred on the 27th of May, and in that, Yuji Horii, creator of the series, gave us a few tidbits. Initially, Dragon Quest Treasures, a spin-off RPG starring Mia and Eric from DQ11, received a new teaser trailer along with the promise of more information in June. Dragon Quest Builders is now available on mobile, and finally there was a small nod given to Dragon Quest XII stating that the development team are still hard at work on the title, but as of yet no major update is available. Last of all, Final Fantasy, starting with 15, which since its release has reached a milestone of 10 million units sold worldwide, which I guess isn't too surprising with all different versions floating around. There was a bit more information on Final Fantasy 16. We knew from last month that its development is coming to a close soon, but articles since have gone into more detail on this, including the reason for the delays coming down to polishing and debugging. But as said before, it's getting ever closer to release. And finally, Final Fantasy VII will be getting news as part of its 25th anniversary in June. We already know that Square have been teasing news on Part 2 of the Final Fantasy VII Remake forum as early as the start of the year, and this seems like as good a period as any to show what they have. Moving on now, the mobile title Tales of Luminaria will be shutting down on the 19th of July this year. A statement was made by the development team expressing their regret at this outcome, but it seems that interest just wasn't strong enough for the first mobile title in the Tales of series. On to Atelier now. A 25th anniversary survey went up on the 23rd of May, so those looking to express their support for the series can do so here. It also potentially hints at future localization languages like Spanish and Portuguese, with questions referring to preferred languages for future titles. The visual collection for Atelier Sophie 2 was also put up to order recently on various Japanese retail outlets, either requiring a proxy as noted before, or you can order directly from the likes of PlayAsia. And finally, surprise surprise, there is another Riser figure going up for pre-order, and it's on the beach. I feel like I've seen this scene quite a few times before over the past half a year. Must be working though, or they wouldn't keep doing it. It's due to release in November 2023. Fire Emblem Free Hopes got a new trailer on the 13th of May, so those looking to dive into the universe can get a bit more information here. Also, Digimon Survive, following its release date announcement last month, has followed up with a gameplay trailer for those interested in how the hybrid visual novel will be structured. Talking about hybrid visual novels, 13 Sentinels Aegis Rim, which recently released on Switch, will also have the additional content in that version added to the PS4 port as part of a free update. Next, some sad news for European hopefuls of AI the Somnium Files Nirvana initiative, as this has had its release date delayed to July the 8th, while Japan and North America will still get the game on its planned release date on the 23rd and 24th of June. And that's not all for Europe, as there's a bit more disappointment in regards to Xenoblade Chronicles 3. The limited edition for Europe has been delayed by a few months. Though the game will arrive on launch day, the additional goods will not arrive till fall of 2022. There is no indication as of yet whether NA will have the same issue. However, those looking forward to the game have had quite a bit of XC3 goodness this month, with character intros and locations shown in equal measures, along with new and returning mechanics. And finally, as always, we go over the upcoming releases. We start with the recently released Switch version of one of my favourite games I've played this year in Opus Echo of Star Song Full Bloom. This version adds more voice acting and is available on the Nintendo eShop. Another indie title has also entered early access in The Use of Life, a turn-based JRPG with multiple endings and choices made during the game that affect said ending. It aims to meld QTEs and commands together in line with characters acting 3 times per turn. NIS Classics Volume 3 is launching on August the 30th for North America and the 2nd of September for Europe for PC and Switch. It includes titles like La Pucelle, Ragnarok and Rhapsody, a musical adventure, the second of which I've heard great things about as a fan of more relaxing titles. Chinese-based developer MiHoYo has announced a new IP called Zenless Zone Zero, described as an urban fantasy action RPG set in a post-apocalyptic setting. It was giving me Scarlet Nexus vibes if I had to make a comparison. It's coming to PC and mobile at present, with more platforms due to be announced. The recently announced Ni no Kuni Crossworlds has now released on PC and mobile platforms as mentioned last month. However, it is worth noting that some who have tried it state that it plays itself, and the game has blockchain integration with NFTs arriving for the title in Q4 of this year. Have a look into some impressions videos if you're curious, it's certainly got a mixed reception. The upcoming release of Eiyuden Chronicle 100 Heroes has recently confirmed that a Switch version will also be available in addition to its current platforms. This is due to release in 2023. The Caligula Effect 2 is coming to PC on June the 23rd, following its initial release on PS4 and Switch last October. The combat system here places importance on combos, just as with the original, plus I hear that the soundtrack is excellent, which is a big plus in my book. Now moving to another indie title in Jack Move, Icebreaker, which has since released a demo. I tried to find the full breakdown of this game, as there appears to be 2 separate titles on Steam, one called Icebreaker, which I assume is the demo, and one simply called Jack Move, which I believe is the full upcoming release. But for those interested, it's another turn-based JRPG with a cyberpunk feel. It's currently free to try out as of now. Moving to another Chinese developed game now, but one that I think could have some potential, and it's called Reverse Collapse, codename Bakery, by Sunborn Network Technology. Now, despite the odd name, it's got quite a storied history to it. It's a tactical RPG and is a remake of a 2013 title, which in of itself was a reimagining of a visual novel that came out in 2009. The 2013 title, called codename Bakery Girl, was a predecessor for the girl's frontline tactical mobile games, which has released all over Asia, and is also its canonical sequel. This 2022 remake in of itself will be the first time it comes to international markets. Now, the only exposure I've had to Girls Frontline comes from the 2022 anime, which was renamed to Dolls Frontline, as another IP held the name in Japan. And if I'm honest, I didn't really care for it, but the games are pretty good I hear, so I'll put it here for those interested. It's coming to Steam, Switch, and mobile platforms later this year. Moving on, we have a recently announced title called Trinity Trigger by Furyu, a new action RPG which is due to release on PC, PS4, PS5 and Switch on September the 15th of this year in Japan. He's hoping that gets the nod for a Western release too. There is also a demo now available for PS4 and Switch, naturally still in Japan though. A trailer was released on the 27th of May to give you an idea of what you can expect gameplay wise, along with giving a roll call to a host of the main characters. Another action RPG now, this time a 2D side-scrolling archetype called Lost Epic, is launching on July the 28th for PS4, PS5 and PC. It's currently in early access for PC and will have English support. It comes from Team Earth Wars, the developers of Earth's Dawn. And last of all, we jump to some SRPGs, and the first one we're mentioning is Bancho Tactics that was announced for the PC. It's due out in Q1 2023 and has a Japanese delinquent approach inspired by Final Fantasy Tactics and the Japanese manga Crows. Another SRPG called Mercenaries Rebirth Call of the Wild Lynx is now coming to PC in 2022 on top of its current releases on PS4 and Switch. It's the 6th title in the so-called Mercenaries saga and honestly looks like it has some solid fundamentals as SRPGs go. Another Chinese developed announcement now, but nonetheless one I think has potential in codename Wandering Sword. It sports a 2.5D pixel art style that many will see as familiar to the likes of Octopath Traveler and Triangle Strategy, and will utilise both strategic and real-time gameplay with the ability to choose your preferred style. It will come with English support but is yet to be given a release date. And finally, Compile Heart hit us with an interesting title as part of a Famitsu article on the 17th of May. Fairy Fencer is getting a new SRPG called Fairy Fencer Refrain Chord coming to PS4, PS5 and Switch in Japan, and it's due out on the September the 15th. If it follows in the footsteps of its predecessor in Fairy Fencer F, then this is a good chance of coming west too, though there's no indication of that as of yet. Now I played the original Fairy Fencer F ages ago, it wasn't for me, but since then there was an enhanced remaster called Fairy Fencer F Advent Dark Force, which apparently did improve quite a bit on the original. Not sure how this one will turn out, but another game to keep an eye on if you enjoy your tactical games. Thank you for watching this video. If you liked this, please give us a like and subscribe for more JRPG goodness, and please consider joining my Patreon if you feel happy to. Peace!